Hey everyone, welcome back to Contractor Growth Tips. Today we are talking about the company values that we actually have here at Full Sail Marketing and discussing more so about why you need to have some for your business.
Hey everybody, welcome back. As always, I'm Wayne.
And I'm Logan.
And today we're talking about our company values. Over the past few weeks, past month plus actually, we've been working on our company values. Finally got them all outlined and I'm super excited about them. So we want to share them with you guys, talk about what they are, why we outlined them, how we're going to be sharing them with our team, why it's important that you outline some company values for yourself as well.
Let's go Simon Sinek. Instead of what, why, and how, let's go why, how, and what.
Perfect.
Ready? Beautiful. So the why. Why even bother having company values? And there's two real reasons in my mind that we have these now and they're very important. One is every single action that we take needs to align with these values. And if we were thinking about, hey, do we want to do this? Hey, should we do that? Hey, this person just did this. Then this is kind of our guidelines. This is almost like our Bible for, is this right? Is this the direction that we go? Is this person living up to this standard based off of our 6 values that we created? And if they have, then we know, you know what, this is kind of our constitution.
Constitution, nice.
I'm going to keep coming up with different
synonyms, metaphors.
Well, yeah, books that are like your guiding light. So if this is like the Quran of our business, then we need to make sure we go off of it. And the second aspect of it is hiring.
Nice.
You're supposed to hire off values, but what we actually do is we take these values and we spin them into questions. So, if a value is, let's say, like a time management, right? Yeah. We then want to specifically ask a pointed question in an interview. Hey, tell me about a time that you actually failed at properly setting, your time for a project. And then if they're unable to answer that, then we go, okay, wow, you're not going to make it. No, we don't go that intense, but we'll use those questions because we want to see, do you uphold these values? Because if you don't, it's not going to be a good fit.
No, definitely not. And so when you outline your values, right, you have the Bible for your company to follow. And with your employees already in-house, this is pretty nice, actually. So Logan and I had a meeting with our business coach yesterday, and he essentially gave us a piece of paper that's like evaluating your team members, evaluating your employees, and most of them comes from these values. And it's being used in the sense of, well, if someone doesn't follow the values, then a consequence needs to occur.
Yep.
Right? They need to be talked to, some sort of consequence, like some sort of demerit system, or honestly, it could even equate to a firing. And it's nice because a lot of times, employees don't know what is expected of them. They don't know what's appropriate, how to react. They're just looking at the more seasoned employees, more seasoned team members, the upper level management, and they're almost just copying what they're doing. They're duplicating it, right? Which, in sense, hopefully that upper management, at least the owners, are displaying their values day to day. Without it being written down, it can be very hit or miss, and it can be confusing for employees. And so that's another huge piece of the puzzle of why you need to have these in place, to make sure everybody understands how to react, interact, how to live day to day within your company. Pretty solid.
Nailed it.
Why else do we have values? Any other reasons?
It really, just back to it. It's good to, have values, and these are not values necessarily that you strive to have. I remember we came up with these over a year ago, and one of the values was
started down.
Yeah, it was time management, and the values of time management. Yes, everybody wants time management, but you can't be 50 things at once.
No.
So for us, we have another value that makes up for time management, and we're not saying we have bad time management. We're just saying that if we hire somebody and they are struggling with understanding how to balance projects, then that's not a fireable offense. That's something that we're okay, cool. But we're not going to hire somebody who doesn't take action and who's not, an initiator themselves. So our values are things that are non-negotiable, and you absolutely have to have these. If you have the other traits, that's great. If you don't have the other traits, we can work with you on them, but these are the have-to-haves.
The non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables.
Cool, so that's the why. What's next?
The next is the how.
The how. So first off, how did we create these values? So we started a year ago, maybe a year plus. We actually brought the whole team together and we said, all right, based off of, we gave them sort of a huge list said pick your top 5, I believe. Everybody picked their top 5. And then from that, we saw which ones overlapped. And those were kind of our company values to start with.
Yep.
Right? Fast forward close to a year later, realized that, you know what? Just because the team we had at the time believed these were their top values didn't mean that it was actually the true values of Full Sail marketing. So started revamping them when we got a business coach. So Logan, I'll let you go ahead and talk about the process of how it got brought back up and really where you started.
So worked with the business coach, Brad, and he said, what are the values? I said, oh yeah, we got some. He goes, okay, what are they? And I started to try, I'm like, I think it's this, I think it's that. And he's like, okay, great, let's talk about that one. Let's talk about time management. What does this mean to you? And I was like, it's the ability to juggle projects and manage time. And he was like, really? And I was like, you know what, I don't, like, I was like, that's not really one. He goes, well, at the end of the day, he's like, employees will come and go, but you as at this time I was a sole owner, you as the owner, if you don't believe in these values, then everything needs to come from the top down. Yeah. So you need to create, as the one who founded Full Sail, you started Full Sail, you need to believe in every single one of these values, because if you don't believe in them, and it's going to be very obvious, then how is somebody else supposed to believe in them? That's the whole idea of, like, if you don't value yourself, how can you expect a client to value you? So that we started going through them, and he said, come up with some. So I started going through and thinking of just like the different values that I personally want to see in anybody that I work with or that I hire or bring on or whatever it is. So I went through and I picked out 5 values.
Did you pick them out, or did you?
I came up with them.
You came up with them?
I came up with them because, like, we started talking. He's like, explain to me, like, what you're looking for. I said, one, you got to be an action taker. I was like, that is one of the biggest ones for me. Like, I don't want people that just, like, give out ideas. I want you to actually do stuff, and I'd much rather you ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. And there's no such thing as paralysis by analysis. I want you to make it happen.
Yeah, this has been a big thing with us from day one, which is like and especially in our interviews, right? We tell people, we don't want you to just sit around and wait for instructions.
Just do it.
Just do it. I came up with that, did you know?
Yeah, didn't you trademark that?
Yeah, I trademarked it,
nice.
And then Nike stole it from me. It was a huge legal battle. They won in the end, but it's okay. Yeah, so just do it, right? You come up with an idea. If you understand our end goal in the company, you are trying to benefit both Full Sail and our clients. We want you to do it. We want you to take action, be an action taker. But sorry, keep going with the other values.
Yeah, so we
how they came about.
Came up with that. So we came, we talked about it, and I kind of summarized everything I was saying of, like, this is how I want somebody to cut. And, like, at first I'd probably give out 10, and then, you could kind of wrap 2 into 1, and then we would, like, get rid of some. So we eventually settled on 5, and then the next step was I wanted to make sure that these were true values that I'm seeing, that I actually care about. So I'm, for the next couple of weeks, watching the team, and I'm jotting down examples of, how does this person exude this value? Does this person exude that value? Because if I look at it and I go, man, I absolutely love what this person is doing, and they're doing a great job, but they don't follow any one of this one value, then either the value is wrong and I actually don't care about it, or that person is not the right person for the company.
Yep.
So I wanted to make sure that that actually the people that were, butts in seats either live up to the values, or do I need to change the value? So I just wanted to make sure that it's actually a value that I truly care about, and not something that's like a nice to have.
Yeah.
Like, time management's nice to have, but again, it is not one of the core values that we have here.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't catch that, that's a great actionable tip here to take away from it, is when you start thinking about your values, take some time and think about examples within the company. Examples from your team members, from your employees that are already doing these things, and see if it aligns, right? Honestly, take examples from yourself. I think in this situation you can be a little bit selfish with it. I know you didn't write any examples about yourself down personally. I went ahead and wrote those down for you later on. But honestly, you need to, of course, if these are your values for your company, if you're the owner, they better be your freaking personal values as well. So you need to be living them day in and day out.
So why is it important to have people that work for you that have the same values?
That's a great question. Why does everyone that works for you need to have the same values? I mean, would it be bad if they had different values?
So the way that I think about this is, I read a book a long time about how Google worked, and they said, look, you don't have to, when you hire somebody, you work with somebody, you don't have to be best friends, right? But you got to be able to at least be able to sit down, and if you have a 3-hour layover, have a conversation with them for 3 hours without killing them. And if you can do that, then that's good, because I know like everybody's different. Like my personality trait's different than yours, which is different than Turner's, which is different than Alex's, and that's fine. But these values are certain non-negotiables. Again, it's just like when you're selling to somebody, you've got certain terms that this is what it takes to do business with me. And I can be flexible in certain things, but I will not budge on these other things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I see all the value sides of it's like, it's very important to you, just like in a relationship. You know, there's certain things that I'm okay with Audrey doing. You know, that I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really bother me, but there's other things that's a value of mine.
Yeah.
That I'm like, if
non-negotiable.
Exactly, like that is, I'm not going to stand for that, and I would much rather end the relationship than see you sacrifice this. So that's kind of why I see all the values and it being very important.
Yeah, so if you're going to go ahead and create values for your own team, how you want to do it, a little recap, Logan, check me if I miss anything here. But essentially, you want to write down a big list of what are your personal values. What do you want to see in your company? Maybe even take examples of what you've seen in the past, right? After you write down a pretty fat list, go ahead and talk them out. Honestly, talk them out with someone, maybe your lead foreman, maybe your significant other, or a business coach in our case. See what really makes the most sense, see what sort of overlaps, start to chop them down.
I would say, you know, just go for a half a dozen.
Go for a half a dozen?
Yeah,
that's kind of what you want to end with.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. End with that, like you don't want to have 2 and you don't want to have 30.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have 6.
We have 6.
So we have 6, that's probably why he says half a dozen. But yeah, so chop them down. After you chop them down, sit on them for a little while, right? See if they're actually your company values. Watch your employees, watch yourself.
Well, mainly watch yourself and see if you really care about that.
Yeah, truth. And then start writing down examples. And if you can legitimately write down, I mean, I'd say at least 2, 3, 4 examples of each of these values, you're most likely on the right path.
Yep.
Right? And then what else for the how? That's kind of it, right? Then you sort of know that you have these values and you're almost ready to start sharing them with your team.
Which is the next step. How do you share them with your team? How do we do it, Wayne?
So first thing that we did, well, first Logan and I sat back down and read over them again. We actually read over them with a business coach another time, and we shifted the wording a little bit, added an additional, that's when we added the 6th one actually. So I think it's great to get another perspective. So don't try and do it 100% on your own, right? Just verbalizing it, letting someone hear what you're thinking. Maybe they're going to think of something that you hadn't. And then sharing it with the team. After we had written them all out, I mean, we have a weekly team meeting, and we literally told them, hey, so we came up with our company values. This is what we stand for, what we believe in. We want to share them with you, and we want your opinion on them. This is the first thing we said. We're going to go through these, and we give us your honest feedback. And it was fortunate in our case that our team members that we shared with at this time, we hired appropriately. We actually hired based off of values already and core competencies. And so they didn't have tons to say, other than, they kind of liked them. They kind of agreed. But we literally just sat down in a meeting. We popped it up onto a screen share. If you're in person, print them out, give them to everybody, and then read through them one by one and see what everybody has to say about it.
That's about it. I mean, that's exactly how we did it. We just went through and it, I mean, what are they going to argue?
Yeah, what are they going to argue? I mean, I would have been super okay with them being like, hey, you know what? I don't think this is correct. At least I think this needs to shift. And if they could have given a strong example of like, you guys as management don't really portray this, I'd be like, damn, okay. Maybe that does need to change. Or better yet, maybe we need to change to really live up to this if it was super important to us.
Yeah.
So, share them with your team. And now that we actually finalized them, right, after that meeting, I think we adjusted a little bit more. I'm actually making up a poster. Well, I almost finalized these posters that we're going to be given to all of our employees to put at their desks, have it up on the wall in the office to make sure that we're portraying these values day in and day out. We're actually starting every single one of our meetings also by reading these values to make sure they're top of mind, and honestly, they affect every action that we take. And
not like all the examples, but just like, just reading through like the basic value and then like the brief 1 or 2 sentence description of what it means to us and move on.
A couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like in the book that we're both reading, it talks about, they're like, look, the first time you do it, people are going to be like, oh yeah, look at this guy, like reading out values. And he's like, eventually, after like 3 or 4 times, people are going to go, okay, they're serious about this. And then they take it serious. But at first, it's going to feel weird where you're like, all right, guys, let's go over the values. Like, I remember like reading it the first time that after we announced them, I was like, well, that was kind of odd. But I mean, as you start to get through it's super important because it's a constant reminder. I mean, look what we talk about with marketing is you have to be everywhere. And if you're always marketing your business, no matter where somebody turns, then they're going to eventually do business with you. Same with these values. If we read it at the beginning of every meeting, if we have them up on the walls in our offices, things like that, then everywhere that you turn, you're going to have those values, so you have no option but to live by them.
Yeah, maybe I'll make some fridge magnets also. Some fridge magnets.
Well, no, and you can do phone backgrounds, bumper stickers.
Bumper stickers help the world with our values. So that's kind of how we did it. Now, I'm sure everybody's sitting on the edge of their seats wondering what the hell are these actual values that we're talking about? These alleged 6 words, not words, but 6 terms to live by, 6 values to live by. So, Logan, hit us off with number 1. I think you already let it slip a little bit earlier.
Number 1 is action-oriented to get stuff done. And just
stuff done.
And real quick, just before I put this out there, these are values that are not just internally, meaning every employee that works for you should believe these values and believe that you have these, and every client that you have should believe these values. Because I've talked to people and contractors, I'm not going to name names, but their values are have fun, change lives, make a lot of money. And how would one of your clients feel about that? I'm not saying it's not wrong, that's not a byproduct, but I mean, if that's really how you are, where your whole idea is like, look, I just want to make a ton of money, then it's going to be kind of tough to like build a whole culture around that, unless like that's the culture. Then everybody's money hungry, and then you got the really, like think about Wolf of Wall Street. That's what I'm thinking about. Like, if everybody wants to make a lot of money, that's fine, but then you have to, pretty much and their job right there in the Wolf of Wall Street is all about making their clients money.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but like if their job was to sell people homes, and they're like, yeah, one of our values is make a ton of money, and people are like, well, I don't want you to make a bunch of money off me, because they feel bad. But so that's the idea, is that these are supposed to be both internal and externally felt.
Well said.
Cool.
Yeah, I think maybe we're definitely, we're putting these out in public right now.
Yeah, and we'll have them up on the website and stuff, just because it just kind of reminds people, hey, these are the 6 things we stand for. So it's action-oriented to get stuff done, and the definition to us is we are self-driven to get things done and show up with results.
Love it, man. That's a great one to start with.
I do like that one.
I like them all.
And it's funny, but I mean, at the same time, there's a reason that these go in the specific order.
Yeah.
And like when I sell to people, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, like, tell me about the business. Like, what is it? What services do you do? And they're like, oh, we do this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, let me ask you, what is your most popular service? And it's always the first one they name.
Always that first
one. Right? Because that's what's most important to you. So for me, my most important thing when I came up with these was being action-oriented. Cool?
Take action to get.
That's true. All right. Number 2 is the ability to own it. The definition to us: we hold ourselves accountable and take ownership of wins, losses, and mistakes. Everything is our own fault. How do you feel about that one, Wayne?
So this one is very near and dear to my heart. I really hate complainers, which is sometimes a problem, especially when it comes to relationships, because sometimes people aren't complaining, they're just venting. But the point of the matter is, you know what, if you got stuck in traffic today, well, you could have left earlier, huh? You could have left an hour earlier. You could have slept here last night. All right, of course, that's a ridiculous example. But the thing is, everything is your own fault, right? We've had a few cases. It might be beneficial to drop an example on each one of these as well.
Oh, okay.
We've had a few cases where we send out an email marketing blast, or actually a better one, we were launching a YouTube video, and we're promoting this YouTube video all around social media with a link, and you know what? We scheduled it incorrectly, and so the YouTube video wasn't even live. People were clicking on this link and just going to a page that's like, this video cannot be displayed, because it was actually set to go live the following day. And our boy Alex, our main man who does all the video editing, he's probably editing this video right now. He owned up. He said, I messed up. Totally my fault. The ability to own it.
Good and bad though. So it's like, hey, look, if you get a bunch of leads, like we did it. Like we worked together, but we were a big part of it. So it's not just whenever we mess up, it's also when we win and everything. So it's every single thing. There's a consequence, good or bad, for everything. So that's the big one there, is, and our idea is that if we have a sales call with you and you don't buy, it's not because you're a terrible buyer, it's because we're not a good salesman.
Yeah.
So that is that. You ready to move on?
Move on. Number 3.
Communication and transparency. Our clients know what, why, and when things are happening. We set the upfront expectations so there is no gray area when working together. And this it almost skates that line of the upfront expectations that we set, and I've been doing recently, has almost been the idea of selling past yes. And truthfully, I almost feel like it is.
Yeah.
Where I'm so abundantly blunt, not even clear, but abundantly blunt about this is what is to be expected, and this is what's going to happen, and this is what I know is going to happen, this is what may happen. I have no idea. That to some people, they want the assurance. I'm not confident. I'm saying this with confidence, but I'm saying, look, there is absolutely no way to know if this is going to get you 500 leads or this is going to get you 100, just because, there's a lot of things that affect it, or this may be new to us, or this may be new to you, and it's going to take some time. So, we're just going to shoot you straight. And we could say, look, just based off of what we've seen, this is what we expect. And that is perfectly cool. But with some people in a new industry, we're like, look, this is kind of what we've seen in similar industries, but yours might be a different thing. And the only way to find out is to test it and see what we can get.
Yeah, you shoot people straight and you set upfront expectations to avoid awkward situations later down the road, right? To avoid someone feeling like they got lied to or they got swindled, whatever it might be, by setting proper upfront expectations. He's an awesome example. I actually told Logan this one yesterday, is that one of our clients, things have been going slower than we wanted to go. Perfectly honest with you, we're not driving the amount of leads that we want to be. And we were talking to them. We finally got them on the phone. Logan's talking to them, and he ended up apologizing. He said, you know what? From the beginning, you told me that this was going to need to be a two-way street. That you were going to need content, pictures, videos from us. You're going to need information from us. And we have not been holding up our side of the bargain. When I heard that, I was blown away. I was like, Logan, honestly, thank you, man, because you're the one that did it. You set those proper upfront expectations. You did it. And you know what? If we hadn't set those appropriately or properly, then the client probably would have been blaming us. They're like, hey, you're not giving us enough leads. And we're like, well, we set it up front. Communication, transparency is huge. We're not going to lie to anybody. You know what? It's better to be up front and scare someone off than to lie to them. And then down the road, they get a negative opinion of you.
It's true, right?
Yeah, that's true. So that's communication and transparency. What are we on now? Number 4?
Yep, number 4 is going to be adaptability. So we're constantly evolving.
Nice. Listen to the definition of this one.
We live in a constantly evolving world, and every second it evolves faster and faster. Staying up to date is not enough. We need to stay out in front of it. We also understand that every client is a bit different, so our strategies and tactics have to be unique to that client. So what we're saying is that technology, I think I've said this before, technology is officially not slowing down at all. Meaning that today is the slowest day it'll ever be evolving ever again. It just gets faster and faster and better and better, and it is just amazing how quickly everything is. So for us, with everything changing, we have to change as well. That what we do it all digitally, right? Direct mail has been pretty much the same for 100 years?
Yeah, a long time.
But Google updates its algorithm, meaning what they want to show, 8 times a day on average.
8 times a day. Same with Facebook. That's one of the biggest examples that I dropped for this one, was that Facebook algorithm's also always changing, right? And so especially in the digital marketing industry, it's ever evolving. And so my favorite piece of this value is truly the staying up to date is not enough. We have to work to stay out in front. And with an ambulance driving by right now.
Look at them staying out in front of the emergency.
Yeah, exactly, right? So ever evolving and adapting.
Yeah, that's big. Next one is going to be composure. Calm is contagious.
Nice.
People don't hire people. People don't hire businesses. People hire people. Good thing one of our values is not people will not hire dyslexia, because that would be screwed.
Yeah.
People don't hire businesses, people hire people. We stay true to who we are while exuding poise and stoicism with every interaction. If this cannot be achieved, take a break and come back to it.
Beauty. There's not much else to say other than that. If you're running around frantic all over the place, this might be a huge one that a lot of contractors can adopt. Go ahead and just straight copy this from us if you'd like to. Calm is contagious, right? Imagine this. You're working in a homeowner's yard. No, you're working in a homeowner's yard. All of a sudden, oh shit, you hit an electrical line. Or you hit a pipe and water's bursting. You think they want you to come to them with, guys, oh my God, we messed up. Like, oh, this is happening. Versus you going, just wanted to update you. We hit this electrical line. We've already contacted the electric company. They're going to be out here to come service it in the morning. That sounds pretty good to me.
Calm, right?
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. So calm is contagious. You don't want to be freaking people out. And honestly, this is another big is, like, it goes with emotion. Like, we don't really let emotions dictate our actions.
Yep.
Stuff's going to come up. You know, we're going to have disagreements. We're going to have arguments. But if you can't rationally deal with it at that moment, step away, take a break, come back to it.
There's a lot of times that, like, when people get into this fight or flight mode, it's scientifically proven you cannot think rationally.
Yeah.
So if you get so thrown off by something that it's going to bug you and make you do something that you're going to regret, take a lap.
Yep.
That's it.
Take a lap.
Last one. Ready?
Last one. This is a big one, guys. I don't know if you're ready for it.
Above all, have fun. The moment we view work as a chore that we want to avoid is the moment we're no longer Full Sail Marketing. Not every single day will be a vacation, and nothing in life is like that. As a whole, working at FSM should be a value add to each of our lives as well as our clients' lives.
Beauty. Guys, if you've ever, I was about to say, if you've ever been interviewed by Full Sail Marketing, most likely you haven't, but we make it a point to tell all of our future potential hires as well as our current employees that, hey, we want you to have fun while working here. If you are not enjoying what you're doing, tell us. I so strongly believe that you're doing your best work when you're enjoying it. Because if you're not enjoying it and you're just going through the actions to get them done, it's not going to produce the results. I mean, you're going to be depressed. End of day, down the line, you're going to end up quitting. You're going to end up leaving. You're going to have a bad taste in your mouth. So above all, have fun.
That's about it, right?
That's about it, guys. If you enjoyed the podcast, if you like our values, Logan, what should they do?
Go ahead and hit the subscribe button.
Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Podcast, YouTube world, please hit that subscribe button. We're dropping new content all the time. Hopefully dropping a little bit of knowledge that'll help push you guys to the next level in your business.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.